Dear students, today we are going to share the information regarding directive principles of state policy, which are part and parcel of the Constitution of India and attached to the fundamental rights which you have studied earlier. And we shall also try to understand the importance of these principles for the governments, state government and central government, and also for the citizens of this country. Now, let us see what is there in the directive principles. Why have they been incorporated in the Constitution? Directive principles are complementary and supplementary to the fundamental rights. As you know that rights are there to build confidence of the individual and also to give justice to each and everyone. But we see that fundamental rights give us political democracy, whereas directive principles of state policy as thought by the constitution framers shall enable the governments to give economic and social democracy. Directive principles have been included, but these have not been made enforceable by the government. Why? Because it was thought that governments may not be having sufficient resources to implement all the rights, that due to lack of resources, it may not be possible for the governments of state and central government to implement all these rights in one stroke. Hence, fundamental rights which have protection of the Constitution and which are justiciable, for which one can knock at the door of the Supreme Court and High Court to get the rights, these directive principles which are more or less social and economic rights have not been made justiciable, but these are non-justiciable. Now, let me tell you that what is contained therein directive principles. In general, there are goals for we people, for the society at large to adopt. There are certain goals which society should adopt. Then there are certain rights which each and every citizen of India should enjoy. And thirdly, there are some policies which state and central governments should adopt. So, there are some goals, there are some aims for which the directive principles have been included. Aims are equitable distribution of the resources, social and economic justice to one and all, to raise the living standard of the people of this country, to provide adequate means of livelihood to each and everyone, and to make India a welfare state, so that each and every citizen in this country should, through the policies of government, feel that some welfare work is being done for the persons of this country, for the residents of this country, for the citizens of this country. So, these were the aims which were included in the directive principles of state policy. We can understand from the directive principles that these are just the principles, just the guidelines, suggestions which, if adopted and implemented by the state governments or the central government, then those policies will help the individuals to have a better life, to raise the living standard of the people. So, these are not, as I have told earlier, enforceable, but they have got a moral force behind them, because all the governments, all the ruling parties have a aim to be in power for the coming years also. So, unless they do some welfare activities, unless they do something good for the people of the country, they can't expect that people shall vote for them. So, directive principles are the guidelines, and these guidelines give them opportunity to act, to frame the policies, to implement the programs in such a way that welfare of the people is ensured. And so, these all welfare activities give them a guarantee that the goodwill of the people will enable them to win the next elections. So, directive principles do have a force, and that force is moral force behind these principles. Secondly, people of this country also know that what should be done by a government, and if a government does not do the things which it is supposed to be done by them, so people will also make the governments to implement those policies which are essential, which are good for the welfare of the people, and if those principles are not implemented, naturally they are not going to vote for the ruling party. India, being a welfare state, needs such guidelines for the governments, state government as well as union government. Now, we should also look into the relation between fundamental rights and directive principles of state policies. Fundamental rights are protected by the Constitution, enforceable, justiciable, but directive principles, as I have told you earlier, are the policies to be followed, or the guidelines to be followed, or the suggested measures to be adopted, and these are not protected by the Constitution of India, because resources may not enable a particular government of any state to implement these programs. So, it was a provision given by the Constitution framers that they should adopt those policies for which they have got sufficient resources to implement, and for which they can provide the infrastructure, so that results should come out positive. But if the state government or central government do not have the sufficient infrastructure or the sufficient resources, then these can be postponed for the time period. So, what policies are there? We can categorize them in 4 main categories: economic and social policies, Gandhian policies, policies for international peace, and miscellaneous policies. The first one, which are social and economic policies, in these policies all those things have been included which are necessary to raise the living standard of the individuals and to provide better work environment. Number 1, it can be said like this: equal pay for equal work, both for men and women, it is to be ensured. This is one of the policy which should be government should adopt and implement. Equal pay for equal work, both for men and women, should be adopted by each and every government, so that there is no discrimination. Similarly, adequate means of livelihood should be given to each and everyone, so that one can lead life with dignity and respect. Thirdly, working hours in the workplaces should be fixed, and there should be sufficient space for relaxation and for entertainment. Children should be saved from exploitation. Status of women should be enhanced in the society. These all are included in the economic and social policies. Then Gandhian principles. Mahatma Gandhi, Bapu of this country, who has led freedom movement in such a way and had wide experience of the freedom movement, and his thoughts were given priority in the directive principles. What are those policies? These can be categorized like this: 1, cottage and small industries should be encouraged and should be protected. Secondly, consumption of drugs, intoxicating drugs and alcohol should be banned, should be prohibited. Thirdly, useful animals like cow and other milch animals and draught animals should be saved, their slaughter should be banned. Mahatma Gandhi was of the opinion that Panchayati Raj system should be strengthened so that each and everyone at the lower level should be able to participate in the local planning, should be able to plan for his or her own welfare. So, the Panchayati Raj system was included in the directive principles, and it was enforced that this should be implemented in true spirit. Then there is principles for the international peace. Yes, it has been given in the principles that India should work for the maintenance of international peace. India should work for better relations with other countries, for good relations with other countries. Then thirdly, it should respect the international laws and treaties. Last category may be taken as miscellaneous principles, in which main is the Uniform Civil Code. Uniform Civil Code means same rules and regulations, same laws for one and all, without discrimination of anything. But this has not been implemented so far, this could not be practiced so far because of diversity of this country. Secondly, historical monuments should be saved from defacement and from destruction. This principle is very important to save our culture, to save our heritage. Thirdly, to save environment from pollution. Now you can see Ganga plan and all other these plans to save rivers from pollution are part and parcel of these programs. So, you have seen that all the policies, all the principles which have been mentioned under these categories are for the welfare of the people, and these are being implemented seriously by the governments. Dear students, we see that all these principles which are there in the directive principles of state policy are for the welfare of the people at large, and every government, whether state government or central government, are very keenly executing, implementing these programs and policies. So, you know the importance of these principles, they are very important. They are complementary and supplementary to fundamental rights. From examination point of view also, you should learn that what policies are there, what principles are there, how can these be categorized, and what is their relation with the fundamental rights, how they are different from the fundamental rights, and how these activities, how these policies, how these programs are based on the directive principles for the welfare of the people at large. So, the directive principles which are complementary and supplementary to the fundamental rights have been implemented, are being implemented. You can see so many programs have been done. Panchayati Raj has become now a mandatory part, and it has been given constitutional status. Status of women have been enhanced. Child care has been given priority, maternal care has been given priority. So, all these policies are being implemented by the state governments and central government under the directive principles of state policy. So, from the examination point of view also, these directive principles which give governments provision for making such policies and programs which help individuals to have a better life and also to make this India a welfare state.